laps down and follow through to the end of this race.
Race fans, welcome back to Homestead, Miami Speedway here in South Florida. Matt and Ron up in the booth. We got kicked out of the back door and off the airwaves, folks. We're able to restore the connection. However, due to the way the YouTube channel is set up to automatically end, we were not able to resume coverage on the link you guys were previously watching. We have somehow wound up over on the Truck Series playlist. Currently tried to rename the title and description. We apologize for that, but we're trying everything we can to bring you the final 7 laps here from Michigan as John Ross has the commanding lead of almost 10 seconds over Christopher Pendle. There he is, and surprisingly, Rod, with those heaters he was putting up, Diego Rodriguez is somehow still behind the 94, trying to run him down.
Yeah, he was able to slip away, and maybe the line and the amount of momentum he's able to carry through the corners. Diego Rodriguez not able to withstand that, but Diego Rodriguez has been fast in the past few laps, so running him down is one thing, but...
Oh, hold on to it, buddy.
Yeah, most definitely. It's going to be interesting to see if he can get back to him and actually make something happen before this one's over. He's running out of time. It'll be 5 laps to go. Show the Hampton starter stand next time around for your race leader, John Ross. As Ross out front leading by about 10, almost 11 seconds. I don't believe anybody's going to have anything for him, as Pendle's actually turned up the wick a little faster last time by, but John Ross still commanding around here as he's now, oh, wait a minute now, he's slowing down, 34.150 last time by, and I don't believe he's working lap traffic here in the 44 machine, and he's
fuel.
out by, no.
Could be fuel. Let's jump on board with Ross. Let's go to the in-car camera. He's still in 5th gear. I did see there's a downshift. Okay. So interesting. While we're seeing that much fall off all of a sudden out of Ross, I thought that was a fuel mileage coming into play, but Rod, you would think if that was the case, we wouldn't be seeing 4th gear utilized.
Maybe he was checking fuel to make sure he had enough to go the distance there. It looks like he clicked back down to the 34.0 second laps last time by, as Christopher Pendle's 34.2 and Diego Rodriguez 34.4. So our field may be set for the finishing order already, but don't count out Andrew Test number 98, Rod, as he was 0.2 faster than Diego Rodriguez last time by. So that position may change if he gets to the striking distance.
Absolutely. On board now with the HMFIC head cook, chief, and bottle washer out of Hope Valley, Rhode Island. And if you look out the front of that dark horse, you'll see the next target up there, getting up close and personal with the fence. Look at Andrew wheeling that thing off the bottom of the racetrack. Notice he is not shifting. He is committed to G5 or Gear 5. As he kind of utilizes the middle lane and then kind of brings it back down to the bottom off. Interesting way to get it done through 1 and 2, but it's working. Trying to bring the Big Mac attack to the 20. And I'll tell you what, he's within a second now. That is 8.6 or 0.86 seconds now. Rodriguez running for his life. As that's the battle of the Fords for the second place position. And how about this run on the final lap? Let's lock the cameras in on Ross as he comes to the turns 3 and 4 complex for the final time, or off 1 and 2 for the final time, down the backstretch. He is going to send it in there like a one-man wrecking machine, just like Harry Gant was back in the day. He's going to slide her through 3 and 4 through the middle. Come off at turn number 4. Barney's got the checkered flag, and nobody circles the wagons like the boss, John Ross. He is going to get the victory in the South Florida heat, as that car was FAST fast. Ross is your winner. The one-lap wonder of Christopher Pendle, and I mean that reverting his lap times at a 33.58. Going to win the fast lap battle, but going to come home with a solid second-place finish. You guessed it, Diego Rodriguez going to come home third. And just on the outside, looking into the podium, Andrew Teft and the Rocket, Zach Lockett, going to round out your top five. As Ross gets ready to burn the house down, whatever. Oh, I don't think he meant to do that. Is that car illegal, maybe? As he literally tried to mow the fence down, he was so fired up, Ron. And I may.
No, you lose me. We're good. I felt a spider crawling across the floor.
Oh,
I had
that's always fun.
Yeah, I was on exterminator mode. As these guys are exterminating the engines in these race cars and eliminating all violations that could possibly be found during post-race inspection.
Reminded me of Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson from about 8-9 years ago.
Get out of my head! I was already thinking that. Oh, some fun stuff going on.
Well, I guess that's the benefit of having a fixed setup, right? You don't have to worry so much about that. I think he was just a little fired up, and he set that skull dip tin, slid across there like a hockey puck, and boom! Boom shakalaka at the fence. But hey, race is already done. He's already won. Going to transition now to post-race coverage, driver interviews, and more. We'll be with you in 30 seconds for driver interviews. Stick around. Welcome back to Miami Homestead Speedway here in the Sunshine State, where John Ross, once again, the boss, Skull Bandit colors, Harry Gant vibes, and that's exactly how he drove his ride to the front, and he just owned the competition again. Fastest car once again in practice. Set the top speed, the hot one, in pole qualifying, your pole winner and also your race winner. The only thing he didn't win was the hot lap competition as Christopher Pendle went supernova. We'll talk about that when we interview him. But your winner once again, I don't call him the boss for nothing. The Ross is loose, folks. These drivers are going to have to do something to try and throw a monkey wrench because he just has everything. Vibing, it's gelling, it's in harmony, and you're going to have to do something to break this confidence and momentum. I mean, this is quite the performance in a season to remember shaping up for the driver of the 44, John Ross, as we now get ready to shift into post-race driver interviews here on Racers Elite Network. Before we start talking to these drivers, Ron, what are your key takeaways from this race? What kind of stuck out?
Shifting points for the most part, and the fact that it didn't really affect the fuel mileage.
Yeah, absolutely. We have all three of our drivers standing by, so we're going to start with our third place finisher, and that's going to be Diego Rodriguez, now joining us up in the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth. Ron, he is standing by with you.
Rodriguez there in the 20 machine. Picked up a few wins here, and he came up third here tonight. A great run here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. What was the key to help you pick up a podium here today, Diego?
Oh, a lot went into it. The track was brutal. This track is always brutal. Low grip, high tire wear. It's multi-groove. You can run the wall, you can run the bottom, but beginning of the run, the race too, track was really, really hot. You could probably cook an egg on it. But I ran the bottom. I wanted to save my tires for the long run in case we went 30, 40 laps because we could go 40 on fuel. So I, would Just taking my time. I wasn't trying to burn the right rear because once you burn the right rear on this car, you're just done. Um, Managed the first run, stay third, and keep the tires alive. Same with the second run, and on the last one, coming to the final few laps, I was trying to stay ahead of Andrew because he's third in points. I think he's 11 points behind me now. Um, and I just couldn't get around the 94. Me and him, we would go side by side, and then we would just he would run the wall, I'd run the bottom. We would just do our own thing.
Yeah, definitely a diverse battle to the end of this race for sure. And it's definitely going to shake up the points a little bit with Ross picking up the win, but it's not going to change things too drastically. As looking now, I'm going to pull up and actually see where, yeah, put you, after Homestead put you as the points leader and lock it behind you by 8 points. So pretty tight points battle as the chase continues. We got 2 races left. What do you think your outlook comes for the WWT and Darlington, the Lady in Black?
They're both really similar tracks. They're kind of an egg shaped, but Darlington has banking and gateways of short, flat track. I'm not the best at flat tracks. That's what I really need to improve on. Darlington, I love Darlington. It's one of my best tracks. I love racing it. So I'm confident there at Darlington, but Gateway, I'd need to work on it and improve.
So looks like you'll be hitting the racetrack early on Thursday night next week for some extended practice before the race gets going.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah, Andrew hosts a really good league. I mean, 105 laps of green flag racing tonight. I mean, we had no cautions, and I mean, I love that. You guys put on a really good broadcast every single day. And then I want to thank my parents. They always watch and they love when I do this stuff. And that's it.
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. He has the momentum, the mojo, the right vibes, and able to stay on that slick racetrack and keep it alive for a solid third place finish. One of the big contenders for the championship. You heard from his own words. He has Darlington circled, and he is counting the days down. Look for him to be bad fast there. Congratulations on that third place finish, and we'll hopefully be speaking with you again really soon, Diego. Thanks for your time. Go ahead and move him back down into the broadcast waiting room. Again, appreciate Diego's stopping up here in the booth and having a chat with us. And, you know, Ron, he brought up a great point. Once again, lean, mean, and greed at a racetrack, as Devil Charger said in the YouTube.com live chat, and I quote, "It looked like KY and Ted's got treated on the racetrack before the race cars unloaded," and I thought that was pretty funny and crafty.
They definitely played a treatment on the rubber for sure. He got burned up today.
Absolutely, but you know, Diego made it look easy, as did these guys in the top three, and I turned some laps out there, and it was, oh my goodness, it was well, let's just say it was rather terrifying to hold on to the race car. I wanted to use a different choice of verbiage, but that may have been a little too intense for the broadcast side of things. As we now pull up our second place finisher coming home in the 94 machine, as always, Christopher Pendle, Matt and Ron up top. You got a copy, bud?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Well, hey, brother. It was almost like you made a statement out there and said, hey, Ross was the fastest car in practice. He won the pole. He's going to win this race, but he's not going to get the fast lap. And then you go spiritual status and uncork a 33.50. Where did you pull that one from?
A little bit of draft, man. I can tell you that. That last run there, I was trying to. I'm not. This is the first time I've raced these next gens at Homestead, and I was kind of learning a little bit. So just to finish second is great for me. Diego and me had a great battle there. I ran side by side with him, neck and neck, the whole race. We had a great battle there, but just that's third stint. I think I had a couple lap fresher tires in Diego there, so I knew all I had to do was get around him. I was going to start pulling away, and that draft is what helped me. I'm just ecstatic for second at a track I've never raced at. I struggled early in practice. I was having a hard time keeping the rear tires on it, but I started to figure out a couple things. And yeah, John was fast. I knew I wasn't going to catch him unless a miracle happened, but I'll take second any day.
That is rather impressive. So you not having any experience at this track in this race car, and for you to pick up, wow, oh my. I mean, that is incredible, Chris. I don't think I've ever seen any one driver unload here with the track the way it is right now, because I turned some laps out there in practice, and that was an ice skating rink. I mean, you tried to pick up just a little bit more, and you paid. The back end was out to lunch. The nose would just take off towards the fence, and for you to do what you did, that is extremely impressive. Well done, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I really do. I mean, that's the thing with me. Like, if I can get in anything in any race car and go on this game and go fast. I'm still trying to figure out in these next gen cars how to stay tire. I don't run them very often, so maybe if it was an Xfinity car truck, I was joking with John. I thought I might have had something for him a little bit because I like those cars. But I'll take second, man. It's the past few weeks have been rough for me in here, and I made the playoffs by barely the skin of my teeth, and I'm past few weeks I've been not very good, so I'll take a second place finish.
I'll tell you what, man. In my opinion, a 10th place finish should feel like a win. I mean, to come home second with the amount of time that you had out there, I don't know what time you loaded into practice, but that is extremely impressive that you were able to pick up that type of time and just confidence out there and come home second against really good competition. That is an eye-opener. Heck of a run from you tonight. I mean, what did you notice about this racetrack, or the way I should say to attack this racetrack, that we were able to really maintain that lap time consistency? I'll be honest with you. When you started serving up those heaters, I thought maybe 4 more laps in your car was going to drop like a rock, but that wasn't the case. What did you figure out on the racetrack that you were able to not only put up those times, but also hold off a fierce competitor in the 20 as well?
Well, honestly, I don't know. I was just trying to keep her off the wall the best I could, and I couldn't run the bottom in 1 and 2 to save my life, so I tried to run the middle to high ground in 1 and 2. I just tried to do a good job keeping it off the seams, because this track, obviously, progressive bank and stuff, you hit the seams in this track. I got behind a couple guys, and they was getting real loose off exit, trying to cross over the seams. I just trying to be patient, hit my marks, play with the throttle a little bit, and once I got around, I was able to get around Diego and pull away a little bit. I tried to slow down a little bit and save my stuff. I knew I wasn't going, like I said, I knew I wasn't going to catch John, but I was just doing everything I could to save in case Diego caught me and we had to battle it out. But I don't know. I just hit my lines and take my time and just be patient. That's all I could do. And then I figured out in 3 and 4 when I was running the high line, there was a certain time where I can get back on the throttle and kind of arc it down on that top seam there, and it just drove me right off the corner, right off the exit, and I was able to pick up a tremendous amount of speed there. So I figured that out pretty quickly. A little too late when I figured it out, though, but maybe I could use it for next race.
You found the pocket. Tonight. You found the pocket, ladies and gentlemen. That is impressive, and you can. Unfortunately, in my opinion, there's not too many racetracks where it works kind of like it does here in this race car. But, man, this thing is a different breed. It's not like any other car of the old. But, my God, if you got some seat time in this thing, you put this field on notice. What you did here today, that is incredible. I would definitely hang your head high on that, Christopher. That is extremely impressive. Before I cut you loose, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done on the 94?
Well, first of all, thanks, Andrew. lead. I love racing in this league. I raced in Xfinity last season, and unfortunately, I couldn't finish the season at the end. But I love racing with these guys. It's an awesome group of guys. Just thanks to my boys over at Deep Racing. Odie couldn't make it tonight. Richard Odie's my teammate. He couldn't make it tonight, so he gave me a little bit of pep right before the end of the race, or beginning of the race, and then just thank everybody that helps me try to figure out a little bit of these race cars. Thanks to competitors. They race me clean. They usually race me clean every week. I mean, that's two or three races in a row that we haven't had any cautions.
Yes, sir.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And that's including the Sunday night race, or the Sunday race too, where I ain't had no cautions. But these are some good guys in this league, and I appreciate everybody who runs, and it's clean, respectful racing. And then obviously thanks to you, man. I love going back and watching your all's broadcast. You do a heck of a job. I like watching it. You put a lot of effort into it too, man. So that's a good job. I just like watching them, even if I don't finish good. Just thanks everybody. I appreciate it. And hopefully next week I don't have no seat time at WWT Raceway, so I got to find some seat time there and get better. John was giving me a little bit of pointers there in the chat. So we'll see how it happens.
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. He was greener than that hood on that Mustang as far as being a greenhorn out there on the racetrack, but you wouldn't know it at the end of this thing as he found some bad fast speed out there on the racetrack, wins the hot lap competition, and comes home in that runner-up position. That is the one and only Christopher Pendle putting on a performance here, making his first official start in this race car at this racetrack, going up against some very good competition. That is a win all day long in my book. And my God, I wish I would have known about that earlier in the broadcast, because I would have been going off the rails in the booth watching him do what he did, knowing that he hasn't even put this race car out in the track yet. Incredible stuff from Christopher Pendle. I'm going to go ahead and put you back down in the broadcast waiting area, sir.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, buddy.
I was like, Christopher Pendle was a centimeter away from that car becoming a Flintstone mobile with that pedal all the way to the floor.
He was walking the tightrope on the top shelf, wasn't he?
Sure was. Most definitely.
All right.
That was awesome.
And now the man you've all been waiting for, making boss moves out on the racetrack once again. Shades of that Harry Gant paint scheme. There was you, and then everyone else. John Ross, congratulations. You show up at another racetrack, another pole, another win, and another P1 interview. However, we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to give Ron the honors. He's standing by with you.
Well, I was thinking about something here at the same time, but I think it was all about the concentration, and I'm sure Skull helped him get to victory lane, John.
Yeah, I guess the old Harry Gant had a little aura around it tonight, right? So
Absolutely.
Yeah, it really was. Homestead is really about taking care of your equipment, making sure that you're hitting your line. It's really about line execution, especially in the next gen, because if you don't and you get a little offline or a little out of sync, you can still turn some really quick lap times early on. But man, once the tires fade, you will have your hands full.
Yeah, it's this place here. We were talking about the tire temperature, and everybody's come back to the baking eggs segment here on the hood of these cars. You can do it on the asphalt, but you're probably gonna lose your food to the atmosphere. But you do it on the hood, you can skip it off, and it just roll right off there and sizzle and slide with a little bit of bacon grease or a little bit of the old butter there, if you will, as we make everything delicious here on the Racers Elite Network. As delicious as this win is for John.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it was really hot. It started much hotter than it finished. And it does change the way that you drive. If you're, when we first took the green flag, it was the hottest the track ever was. And I thought it was going to get a little bit later in the afternoon to cool down a little bit. So really careful in the apexes of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then when it starts to cool down, you can really trust your gas pedal, trust the grip in the track, and trust that it's not going to burn the tires off. So you can start to pick your pace up. Right there at the end, I think, I was about 25 or 30 laps into that. Well, maybe about 25 laps into that last run. I think I was still turning, sevens, eights. So, you just allow the track to come in a little bit and just be patient. And we, got lucky and we were there at the end.
Yeah, great win. Anything you want to highlight for out of the race for John, Matt?
Oh, absolutely. Now, notice, folks, ladies and gentlemen, he's talking about taking it nice and easy. In fourth gear, I might add. how
Yeah.
how do you do that in fourth gear? I tried doing it in practice, John, and I ain't gonna lie. Every time I downshifted that race car, the rear of it stepped out to lunch. I was facing every which way, which I should have been, and I'm on board with you with my jaw hanging off the almost touching the floor of the booth. I mean, you sent it down in the corner, downshift. The car didn't move an inch. How do you do that?
Yeah, especially in the next gen, the key is really being able to rev match. And since they have sequential gearboxes, if you time it just right, it's nice and smooth and it does not kick the car around. So you just have to rev match it. And a lot of people do not shift here. And a lot of people don't shift the next gen in general. And I think they're just as fast in fifth as it was in downshifting. But just for me, I feel like I have a little bit better control over the rear tires if I'm shifting into fourth. And it has such a great drive off of the turn that I was able to just kind of go half throttle, three-quarter throttle on exit in fourth when everybody else, I believe, was going to have to go full throttle to catch me.
That's a great point, and I didn't think about rev matching, and that's a little bit of some footwork or art mastery there. I haven't done that in a long time, but since you brought that up, I'm going to actually put some seat time in that department. So thanks for bringing that up. And the other part, you said exit off. Well, folks, if I try to drive it off that corner in fourth gear, it wasn't happening. I know they said in Days of Thunder, loose is fast and on the verge of out of control. And I promise you, if John would have pushed that throttle pedal another millimeter, he would have had a speed date with the wall. But that's how precision he was over the course of this run. John, I know you're not going to sit here and, toot your own horn, but I will talk about it because what you did in that race car, each and every circuit around that racetrack, I mean, you have a minimal margin for error attacking the racetrack the way that you did. And I don't think I've seen your car slip, but maybe once or twice throughout the course of that race. And mainly that was because of lap traffic. That was just superb execution by yourself out there, and less than ideal conditions, if you ask me. And here you are once again in victory lane. Before I cut you loose, who do you want to thank? Who helps you get it done on the 44?
Yeah, Matt, I appreciate the kind words, Ron. I appreciate everything both of you do here in the booth. So first and foremost, want to give you a shout out. Racers Elite, Andrew, for putting this league on. If you want to run, man, we're doing something every single night. Just get a hold of him through Facebook, on our website, and Andrew will get you signed up and get you coming. New season coming up very, very soon in all three, Truck Xfinity and the next gen. To all of my adrenaline teammates, Leroy, Zach's going for the championship. Leroy had another good finish tonight. The guys that couldn't be here, Josh Freed, certainly can't wait to see those guys back. I won't be here next week, but I might come back and run one more here in the next gen at Darlington.
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Not only is he fast on the racetrack, but he is smooth as Tennessee whiskey up here in the booth as well. John Ross, thank you for your time. Congratulations on another dominating performance here in the Racers Elite Next Gen Series. And to echo what he said, folks, that's right. All things iRacing related under one roof here at Racers Elite. In fact, we even have a class match series. Take all the hot cars, throw them on the track at the same time. If that's not fun, I don't know what fun is. So make sure you get hooked up, like he was saying. Get in touch with the HMFIC, Andrew Teft, any of these league admins, and that could be you out there on the racetrack come next season. And I mean it, we have those slots available, so get in while you can. You'll be glad you did. And John, I thank you for your time, and I hope we speak to you again real soon. Well, Ron, that is going to wrap up our top 3 interviews as always. And I think, some of the big storylines here, and again, these drivers in the interview part of our segment there kind of touched on it. Lean, mean, and green once again.
Yeah, most definitely. It's always a great time to come out here, and these drivers get to actually put their skills to the test when it comes down to strategy and managing fuel mileage throughout the course of a race, and trying to off-put themselves from the rest of the field outside of these super speedways and draft tracks.
Absolutely. Again, want to thank everyone for joining us on Racers Elite Network here tonight and being a part of the action. Make sure you smash the like button, ring the bell, come home for all the high-flying, high-octane racing action right here on Racers Elite Network. And of course, you won't miss any of the action. Once you do that, you'll get those notifications so you know where to be, locked, ready to rock, right here when Racers Elite takes it live in prime time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's come to that portion of the race where all good things must come to an end. You heard from the final top three, so before we go ahead and officially shut down here in South Florida, go through the remaining results here tonight, coming home with an honorable, very strong finish once again, just outside the podium. The Rhode Island man, Racers Elite President Andrew Teft's going to come home fourth. Zach Lockett in the 93 out of New York runs out your top five. Truth Hope because they come home sixth. Leroy in the 42. Good for that seventh place position. Well, the Nitrous Cowboy out of Boone, North Carolina. Troy Thomas going to come home eighth. Curtis Ecker is going to slide into the top 10 in ninth. And the Colonel is going to round out your top 10. Paul Shaw, Teff, the Alex version, that's good for 11th and 12th. Well, Hayden Malcolm, who had that very up close and personal Code Brown moment of the race with the leaders early on, out of Amarillo, comes home 13th. Alan Bergen went Nitro Circus mode and obliterated the barrels for his highlight exit on the race for 14th. And I know I am showing out there the racetrack. However, I turned some hot laps just to get some intel to translate over to the broadcast. And 14 drivers started this race. Paul Shaw, Alex Teff, going to be the final driver to come across that start-finish line in 12th here this evening. And as we go ahead and leave to get ready to check out of Homestead, as the late, great Tony Trapasso used to say, as you walk down the road of life this week, do us all a favor. Don't play in traffic, and we'll see you next time right here on Racers Elite Network.